So first, before we go through this, I wanted us to quickly go through the schedule just so that we're all on the same page. So today we'll work on getting the AI ideas that we might have. We'll list as many as you want, and then at the end, by the end of the week, so we'll take a couple of days to review how feasible an idea is, like what tools do we need, like is it possible for us to implement it? Also depending on the resources we have and the time we have. So today we'll just come up with the ideas, list them down, and then during the week we'll review, and then before we start the next session, we'll check what we came up with during the review, and then at the end we should have only two AI ideas or two AI features that we can implement. And I'm saying that because I'm sure we'll come up with so many, and I don't think we'll have a lot of time to do more than two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we will do for this first week, and then the second week, considering we will have these ideas, these features, these two features that we've identified, we will need to look at the designs we have and then redesign them accordingly. So depending on what we decide we end up picking, there might be a chance that we'll need to make some changes on our Figma designs. And I think it'll
Yeah.
also be a great opportunity for us to sort of redesign the app in a way, like depending on how much time we have, to use the
Mm.
right frames as it was brought up before. We could see how we can use the right frames so that we
Mm.
have a better design before we even do anything. And then another important thing is we need to use Tailwind. I don't think we used Tailwind before. Let me see.
No.
Can't remember which. Let me look for the database. Okay. So I think we just used the. Did we use CSS? I think it was CSS.
Yeah,
Or
we
did we
just
use?
CSS.
Okay. So there was no like
Use
no
CSS.
bootstrap or anything. It
Tailwind.
was just plain old.
Yeah.
Okay. CSS. So, and where was the CSS? Let me see. In the static folder, I'm assuming. Yeah, here it
Yes,
is.
that is folder.
Nice. So now what we will do is use Tailwind. I don't know how many people are familiar with Tailwind or they've, just heard of it.
Yeah, just have it. Otherwise,
Okay.
we haven't used. Mm.
You haven't used it yet. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. So Tailwind is a really, really, really good tool. Or what do I call it? I think it's a library. I believe so. Yes, it's a library. So we will use it for styling. These days, no one talks about CSS or CSS3. It's always just Tailwind.
Mm.
And you can use it also in building mobile apps. Like if you're doing React Native, you can use Native Wind, which is essentially Tailwind in React Native. So I believe learning Tailwind will make you like, it'll just kill more than two birds even with one stone to be like doing that. It's a
Oh.
very on demand skill, and it's not that hard to grasp. So we will set up the project to add Tailwind, and then like do a few things with it just to get familiar with Tailwind, and then
mm,
redo our app with Tailwind. You'll see how simple it will become because of that. But the goal, remember,
but,
is to learn the hopefully the latest skills and use it. So learn how it's used and then use it in an actual project.
mm,
And then the next thing is an SRS, software requirement specification document. Anyone who's familiar with this?
um, I'm not really familiar with.
Okay. Anyone
Yeah,
else?
me neither.
Okay. Faith, are you familiar with
Mm,
this?
Me, no.
Okay. So a software requirement specification, it's a document, first of all, that specifies the requirements for the software. I know I'm just literally defining
Mm,
the what it is with its name, but that's essentially what it is. So it helps
mm,
you define exactly what is the software supposed to do, what are the functional requirements that it's supposed to have, like functionality, what is it supposed to do. In our case, it's about add task, add subtask, do this, delete, edit profile, create
mm,
account, things like that. And then it also has a non-functional requirement section where it's also about security, reliability, um, what else? The things that are not necessarily functional, but they contribute to the app's
mm,
success.
mm,
So I've done an
oh,
initial draft for us for our project. We'll go through that today. And then what we'll be working on is making changes to it as we go on. So I'll that will be another sort of like an assignment I'll let you guys do is check it out. If there's anything we're missing, adding on to it. And then once we find the two AI ideas that we like, we will add them to our SRS. And then from there now we'll finalize and be done with the SRS at that point. The thing with the approach we're taking, which is agile, is that we can always go back and add something. Like it's not like if we're done with
mm,
the document now we can't edit. Mm-mm. The beauty of it is we can always
mm,
go back. Yeah. And on to the next, which is agile, which I've just mentioned. So again, I'll ask, is anyone familiar with agile or they've heard of agile?
I've heard of agile methodology. I don't know if that's the same thing.
It's the same thing. And what do you know of
Okay.
it from what you had? What's your understanding of it?
I'm trying to remember.
Okay. Okay. So from the word
I think
itself, sorry.
mhm. I think it's like working in small cycles or like small portions, and then the team can like adjust based on feedback that they have.
Yes. Actually, that's a really good description of what it is. And it is like that. You work in small chunks and then you iterate. So agile, the word itself is like being flexible. And before, like years back, we used to have this method called waterfall, which meant you do one step at a time until you finish the system that you're building. So first of all, you collect requirements. Once you do that, now you do analysis. Once you do that, you review. Like it was step by step. Like once one step was done, that was it. Like you can't go back. And that brought a lot of issues in case in future, like things have changed. It made it really, really hard to adapt. So Agile had has kind of resolved that issue. And it's more like we've actually been using it, by the way, all this time. So we take a small chunk of work and we time box it. Usually, um, it's usually a week long or 2 weeks. And then we're like, within this week, we will have an MVP, a minimum viable product at the end. And from there, we will do a retrospective and be like, and see from what we have, is there something we can do better? How does it look? Like we've done tests. Is it good? Is it okay to deploy and all that? And then once that is done, we go to the next small chunk of work. And remember, there's so much feedback we've gotten from that initial one. So when we're getting to the next chunk of work, like we've grown, we know how to do something even better and all that. So we are going to use um, agile methodology for basically everything that we're going to develop, not unless we have another reason to use another approach. And then specifically using user stories. I don't know who's anyone familiar with user stories?
No, sorry.
No one? Okay. So
I think
users,
I've heard of it
you've
because
heard of it?
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
What?
is it the one that you, let's say, the process of the sequence of uh using an application, for
Using
example, from logging in, like
uh
from logging in
I think what you're talking about
to,
is
let's
the
say,
user
from,
flow.
uh,
I think what you're talking about is the user
is it?
flow. User flow. And the user flow is more
Oh
like
yeah.
so step one, create an account and then sign in
Mm,
and then go to the dashboard and then
mm,
pick this and then that's the user flow. So user stories are
okay.
like,
Mm,
I know this is going to sound boring at that because I'm going to repeat myself, but most of the time the explanation is in the name. So user stories, like we are talking about the user. We are creating a story about the user. So the template that we usually use is more of as a user, as okay, let me okay, we can still use the broad term of user in this case. As a user,
mm,
I want to create an account and log in to the app. So it's usually as a dash, I want to dash so that I can do or so that I can dash. That's usually the template. As a another one would be as a user, I want to be able to delete tasks that I don't need so that I can keep my dashboard with only relevant tasks. Um, anyone with another example with our application? Anyone anything that you can think of?
uh,
Um,
Hmm.
as a user, I want to categorize my tasks so that I don't mix them up.
Yeah, exactly,
Something like
exactly,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Anyone else? Or you, the examples are really good so that you kind of
mm,
um I don't know, just makes the stuff stick.
I'd say
Okay.
as a
Example.
user,
Uh-huh.
sorry,
Sorry.
as a user, I want my tasks to be grouped by date so that I can quickly see what's due tomorrow or today or later.
As a user, you want your tasks to be grouped by date so that
To be
to be, sorry?
so I can quickly see what's due tomorrow, today, or later.
Yes, that's another user story. Um, and okay, let me get another one from Edwin, and then I can tell you guys why that's important.
Okay. As a user, I'd like to prioritize my work so
Uh-huh.
that I can know which one needs more attention
Exactly.
than another.
So
So,
everything that you guys have told me is actually our user stories that we're going to use for the app. And the reason
mm,
for this is so that when we come write down the um, tasks that we need to do, we can always pick one. Considering we're using Agile, right? So we're building one thing at a
mm,
time. So let's say we've decided to take the dates thing. If we want to categorize or group by date. In that case, it could be filtering by date, something like that. Anyway, it's we want to group by date so that we can easily see what we need to do at what time, like kind of give us a timeline. We might decide to pick that user story for our sprint. Oh, I forgot to add that in Agile, you can work in something called a sprint, which is actually the timeline, 1 to 2 weeks. Typically 2 weeks, but in our case, we're using 1 week because we're only meeting and doing stuff a week at a time. Okay, let me go back. So we pick one story. So we pick that story, and then that is the one that we're going to implement. So we'll come and look. As a user, we want to group by time so that we're able to visually, like, to easily see what needs to be done by what, like the period with which we need to do tasks or complete tasks, right? So we will break it down and find out what exactly do we need to make it happen. First of all, we need to have, let's say, maybe have it like a filter. Could be like, we could be like, okay, so how do we need to implement this? Do we need a filter? Do we need to have a different view of the dashboard that showcases tasks by time? Do we need to, instead of having a completely different dashboard for that, do we just need to add um, I don't know. Whatever it is we can think of, we will think of it that time. So we'll be like, what exactly do we need to do? And then once we break it down, we're like, okay, so we need to do it this way. Okay, we'll have it as a filter. We can also have it as a different page. And then this is how, we're thinking it could look like. So that means that sprint, we need to come up with a design to kind of see exactly how it's going to look like, and then develop the feature, like how we've decided it's going to look like, and then even test, like implement and then test, so that by the end of that sprint, we have done that story. And even when we're testing, it's so easy. Like it's like, as a user, I need to be able. So
mm,
the question would be, as a user, are you able to categorize your tasks
yeah.
by
Mm.
time so that this and this and this? Yeah. So that's how we're going to be doing our work from now on, just to make it cleaner, simpler. I know last time we were, honestly speaking, I think we were just going at it and
We,
without a
yeah,
really, really good plan. But I had some time to think about so many things, and I realized like I needed to teach you guys like the right way of doing of building software and stuff like that. Anyway, but I hope that makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. And by this time, remember we already created our the initial anyway version of the SRS. We've added all the functional, non-functional requirements and all that. So by the time we get to this point, we already know what's needed. So we will add these user stories to the SRS. And then there is a way that we can kind of add that also to GitHub through things called GitHub issues. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but by the time we get to this time, week 4, I'll take you guys
Mm.
through it. It kind of just makes life easier to have them as GitHub issues. The user stories as GitHub issues, and then transfer them into tasks and all that. Anyway, when we get there, we will talk about that. And then
Okay.
UML class diagrams. So this is more of like very theoretical, but it's very important, and it's also high level. We have a lot of classes in our code: task class, user class, subtask class, all those things. So I think it's important to see them as classes and then see how they interact with one another on a high level. Hopefully, it will give us an idea of how like system design is in terms of classes. So this is for if you're in school doing computer science and all that, you will definitely cover this. Um, yeah, I think it's important to do that. And then we look at right after that, we will look at OOP in Flask projects. So our models, our services, and the blueprints in terms of object-oriented programming. So I'll try and cover some basics like inheritance, polymorphism, stuff like that. Uh, that's under OOP that we're actually using in Python in our Flask project. So I won't do necessarily a deep dive, but I'll just do stuff that's related to what we are doing. Because OOP is a really, really big topic. This would most likely just be like an introduction, and then you can still read more about it later on. Or if that's something you guys find interesting, we can make time for it in our next quarter. And then we're going to look at forms. I know right now how we're doing it. I believe we are, I don't believe we're using the WTF forms. No, I don't think we are. We are putting forms directly into the templates as opposed to putting them separately in their own folder and then defining them there and then using it in our templates. So we will talk about this. It's a cleaner way of doing forms. And it also comes with some, like for instance, for passwords, it comes with, if you don't, like you need to have minimum 8 characters and all those things. if it's like you've put it as an input, as an input type of email, if it doesn't have an @ sign, it'll have an issue with that. I believe if it's like a password, it will make it, what's the word? If it's like it won't be visible, just to make it more safe and stuff. So we'll talk about this. It's a very important um, part of the project. Sorry.
Exactly.
hmm Okay. I thought
I didn't
someone
say
had a
anything.
question. Okay. And then we're going to talk about the ORM. And I know we already have kind of talked about it. We're using SQL Alchemy.
Mhm.
But we're also going to talk about it in terms of migrations. I'm pretty sure you guys have maybe gone through this issue before when, because everyone was working on different things. So someone was working on the tasks, someone was working on the user, someone was working, So
Uh,
considering we have one database, um, if you make changes to the model, usually what you need to do is you need to do migrations. You need to update the database through something called a migration. So we will talk about this. So considering we were using our app locally, like we could just reset the database and then create the initial schema, start from scratch. Like that was a hack of some sort, and it was easy to do when we were just starting the project. But imagine a situation where everything is running and you can't reset the DB every time. So if you make a change in a model, maybe we decide to add another class of something, which I don't know, depending on, maybe there's an AI feature we have find, and then we need a class for that. So that means we'll change the model. And that means we will need to do a migration. So how do we do that? So this is what we will cover that week. And then authentication in Flask. This is going to be mostly for, like it says, authentication, creating users securely, managing sessions um, for users, and what else? Mostly session management. That's what it will mostly cover. Yeah, session management. I'm not sure. I think it'll also cover, is it JSON Web Tokens, something like that, using tokens, because there's two methods. There's a session, the is it cookie method, and then there's a JSON Web Tokens method. Anyway, we will cover all that this week. So I'll make sure I have enough materials prepared. And then error handling. We need to find a way to handle errors grace. Like, for instance, if a page doesn't exist, what happens? We don't want to show people the 404 page. That's just usually the typical broken page. We could have a template for that. And then we could also log issues like to the app, so that we know exactly what happened when we faced a certain issue, and from the logs we could easily trace it back to the problem and then fix it. Okay. And then we'll do testing, end-to-end testing, and this one I really want us to do it, to use GitHub Actions to do it, so that it's automated. I know it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work, but it's actually not. I've used Playwright before, and it's fairly straightforward to include tests with Playwright. So the point is, how do we do automated tests? And then how do we generate automated reports from it on GitHub? So when we merge to main, automatically it runs all the tests. Actually, before we merge to main, those tests are run. If there's an issue, we're not going to merge to main. If there's no issue, then we will be allowed to merge to main. And then reports just show you how many times something has failed, where the issue is, and all the good stuff. So, and then finally we'll do a presentation like we did last time. Still individual presentations, and we'll see how creative we'll get with this part, but it's going to be the last one. So that's it. I know I've taken more time than I was supposed to, but I need us to go through this really quickly, and then quickly peruse through this document, the SRS, and then talk about the ideas that we might have. Okay. Any questions so far? I know I've talked a lot. So,
No
No.
questions.
I'm good.
No.
okay, 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 good. So today, week one, we'll cover SRS and AI ideas for the app.
Yeah. Mm.
So that's the agenda. So we're going to look at the SRS, why we need the SRS. We
Mm.
also look at other documentation, documents that we need or that are usually needed for creating an app. And then, we're going to do like a quick reminder of what we have already, like a snapshot of what we have. And then we're going
Mm.
to talk about some ideas that I found kind of not necessarily just exploratory. They're not in the SRS yet, but it can
Mm.
help us get started with thinking about it. And then we'll ask any questions we have and then the
Oh,
next steps. So,
okay.
an SRS, what is it? For me, I usually call it the source of truth. Like it's
Mm.
if you ever are confused about what exactly are we doing, by the way, with this app, like what am I supposed to do? The best way to get clarification is to go to the SRS. There you'll find the purpose of the document, the audience, who's the audience, what is the the tech stack we're using, what are the functional and functional requirements, what are the user stories that we're using, use cases, what are the use
Mm.
cases that we have. A use case is just, I'll try and show you an example, but I'll create one next time. I don't think I have one right now, but I'll create one. And then tests will also be there. Diagrams from UML, class diagrams, use case diagrams, sequence diagrams, like everything. Essentially, it's like the source of truth. If someone is joining our team for the
Mm.
first time and they ask to get onboarded, that is the document that you give them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
So it's a single formal source of what the system must do and how it should behave. It helps drive like create an alignment in scoping, testing, and acceptance. So because we have explicitly put what the app is supposed to do when we're doing tests, it gives us like it's a guide for us to validate, are we doing the same thing? not the same thing. Are we doing the right thing? Sorry. And if we are not, we'll be like, no, this feature was not supposed to act like this. So there's something that has gone wrong and we need to fix it. Okay. So a typical SRS has these sections. It has the introduction, it has the, which is the purpose, scope, and audience, um, and references are usually like links to documentations or links to whatever it is that can help you better understand even further what is being worked on. Then we have the overall description from the tech stack, the environment, the constraints, then system features. This includes the functional requirements, non-functional requirements. So here, okay, this one includes the functional requirements. We also have the non-functional like security, quality, performance. And then we have external interfaces like UI. In this case, it could be like a Figma file. Software, what other software are we using? Communications, um, are we using another API? Are we integrating with another API? And are we sending and receiving something? Other Another section is the glossary, which would have like definitions of acronyms, things like that. Analysis models and issues if we have any. When we go through the example that I have, not even the example, the initial draft that I have for Ongea Task, we'll get a better understanding. So the SRS matters because the main thing is just to help us align to the expectations. So what is expected from a developer? What is expected from a tester? What is expected from a customer? I know mentors sounds weird. Let me remove this. But what is expected from the different users or anyone who's just interested in this app? It also helps prevent scope creep or doing work that has been done
Oh,
already. So
yeah.
scope creep is so we've agreed to do something like we have the functional and non-functional requirements and all that, and then the client
Mm.
comes in, or just later on down like a few weeks from now, we're like, I bet we can add a chatbot. I bet we can do this. Like
Yeah.
we keep adding more and more to the software or the products that
Mm.
we hadn't talked about before, and
Agreed.
we
Yeah.
haven't defined or broken down, or you know we haven't documented at all.
Yeah.
So it prevents that. So if someone comes in, let's assume this was a product for a customer who's paying us. If someone comes in and they want something else or they want something more, we can easily just go back to the document and be like, hey, by the way, this wasn't part of the agreement, the initial one. We can add
Agreement.
it. Yeah, we can add it, but like that would be an additional cost, additional time or resources, all that. Okay, so it's
Mm.
also used for testing and um, used as an acceptance, creating acceptance criteria. So considering we already know what we want and we know exactly how we want it to be and how we want it to behave, then if we build that product and it's not doing what we were expecting it to do, then clearly there's something wrong. So, and then it also makes it easy um, to onboard someone to the team. So let's assume someone else wants to join the program, we can just, like I said, just give them that document and be like, first of all, go through the document. If you have any questions, ask before, because imagine if we have like 10 people who want to join, going to each and every one of them and then trying to explain to them what the app does and all those details, like it'll take a lot of time. So it's it makes it easy to onboard. So what do we have right now? This is our infrastructure. We're using Flask, SQL Alchemy for RM, and MySQL. And we have the app on Render and the DB on Railway. And we're using Docker to, when developing, we're using Docker for our DB. We're also using Git and GitHub. The features that we have, we can create a task and a subtasks for each task, that is. We can also soft delete, meaning when you delete, it just goes to trash instead of permanently being deleted. And we can also restore tasks. And then we have a user profile that's editable. We have a categories page that is color coded. And we also have labels, priority labels. Yes. So we've categorized the priority by the color, by color. Yeah, that's what we have. If there's something I've forgotten, please remind me and then I'll add it to the document. So the other documents that we might come up with as we continue is user stories. This one definitely for sure. That one we have to do it. It'll just make our work easier. And then acceptance criteria. So most likely we will use the user stories as an acceptance criteria because once we
Aye.
clearly define what a user, like the user story is, we can just go back and be like, can the user actually do that? And then that will be like the acceptance criteria.
Mm.
So, and then other documents is Figma. We have the wireframes and we have the mockups, yeah, high fidelity. So we will attach all those links to, we'll attach them to the document and the gross glossary oh my
Glossary.
god, glossary, yes, that
Yeah,
part,
yeah, that's
like,
it.
yes,
Uh,
that. So, and then model
mm,
diagrams like the UML class diagrams. So we'll create them
mm,
and then we will attach them to under model diagrams at the end of the document. Also, the README file. That's with our code, and it's mainly to help us understand how to run the application, how to set up the env, the environment and all that. And then migration notes. We might have this within our README file, or we have them separately, but it's going to be just how, like, if you make a change to the model, what do you need to do so that we maintain, like, you don't break anything, like you're able to make those changes successfully. And then we could also come up with a test plan. And depending on this, we can decide on which features are the main features that we want to test and automate, so that if these tests pass, we are okay with merging it to main. If they don't pass, then we cannot merge it at all. So we'll pick and choose which ones are okay and which ones are not. And then this is how the flow of like how these documents are connected to one another. So we'll come up with the user stories and then we'll add them to the SRS. And then we we will change our UI designs and then we will test them. I know this is a very, very broad. Anyway, so this is just a very, I think I should add code and then, yeah, yes. So that's it. We'll come up with the user stories and then make sure that we've added them to the SRS document, and then we will have our designs align with the requirements, and then we will code it out and then we will test it. And then for this, actually, it will be model. So it will be we'll change the model, which will change the DB. Um, Actually, this should be here. Sorry, guys. Don't have enough time to go through all this. But we'll change the model first, and then we'll have a oh shoot, sorry. Actually, it was the other way around. So we'll change the model, which will change the DB, and then we will document it so that we know that we've made the change, and then we will update the model diagram as well. I'm not sure if we will create a model diagram, but if we do have a model diagram, we will update it. And then we will also update the README if necessary. So if you are setting up the project for the first time and you want to start with pre-existing data, you could migrate or you could set up your migrations so that they come with the data, like you don't start from scratch. And that's something we could add to the README or leave it out. We'll see. This slide wasn't too useful, but it's okay. We can go to the next one. So, AI ideas, what I think we could do. And then we can actually now add some more as we can add some more right now. So, what I was thinking is we could use natural language to input tasks. So, like audio. So, we could have a button for microphone and then be like, because sometimes typing it out might be, you know, yes, cumbersome or something, and you just thinking of something on the fly. You could use a button, say what you need, and then it'll add it as a task. And then
Yeah.
this could be another one would be having smart reminders. So if it's, for instance, working out, you could be like, best time to do this would be 6 p.m. in the evening. Like that could be at around lunchtime. And considering how your day looks like, that could be the only time that's available. So it could nudge you to to do that thing at that time instead of, I don't know.
mm,
We will think, but just find a time that looks better and then nudge you to do it that
mm,
that time. Yeah. And then this other one is just to make it more, um don't say efficient, more like clean. So if there are any duplicate
mm.
tasks, then it can check and then compile them or add them or delete the redundant one and then leave one of them. Because you could say do
Yeah.
schoolwork and then do assignment one or do assignment this. So like it could be the same thing but put in as different tasks. Anyway. And then we could have a weekly digest. So at the end of the week, it could give you like a summary. It's like the annual Spotify thing. Can't remember what's usually called. Anyway, it'll just show
Mm,
you what you did over the week as a summary. And sometimes we think we've done nothing, or we think we've done so
mm.
much, and we haven't. So this could be a good, it could be a good way to end the week. Anyway, and
Yeah.
then the last one is priority suggestions. So um, it could look at the task and then help you prioritize it accordingly. Also, depending on other tasks um, that are on your list. So, what other ideas do you guys think we could have? I think we can take as many as we can think of, and then during the week. So, I want us
Mm,
to write down the ones, as many AI ideas, and then I'll divide it amongst us to go kind of do a little bit of investigation on it, and then just summarize, like give us notes next time we meet, and and sort of defend your idea, like why you think we should implement, why we should implement it. How hard or easy is it to implement? Like, will it take us so long, or what tools do we need? Things like that. Yeah, defend your idea. Yeah, yeah. So now this is on for us now to discuss. I know you had already mentioned a couple of things, so
mm.
yeah, let's talk about it.
So other suggestions, or
Yes,
we
other
talk about these
suggestions.
ones?
No, other suggestions. I think we should list all of them first, and then
Mm,
by the end of today's session, we'll now divide the work.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Maybe one where it suggests tasks that are done on a particular day. Maybe, for example, you you do your grocery shopping on, maybe, or you're shopping on
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe on Friday, if you haven't added it into your list, you can suggest that tomorrow is your day to do shopping.
So smart suggestions. Task. Okay. Okay. Any
Mm,
other one?
Um, you could also add personalized reminders or nudges, like the AI can learn when you usually do like a task.
Mm-hmm.
It will learn when you usually do some specific task on a specific time every day, and then maybe it can be reminding you personally, like, would you like to do this now, uh like you usually do, something like that.
Is is it? It
And
kind of
maybe
sounds almost like this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it doesn't
yeah. It
sound.
sounds,
it kind of,
yeah,
because it's
or
But
also,
nudging you still. Like, hey, would you like to
yeah,
work
yes,
out at 6? You usually do this. You've done this for the
yeah,
past 4 days. Yeah,
yes.
mm,
yeah.
And maybe if you delay doing something, or if you're late on doing something you're supposed to do, it can remind you you haven't done this and this.
So, do you think this one will also fall into that, like the smart reminders?
Oh yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I think it's the same thing.
Okay, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, yeah. Mm,
Anything else?
yeah.
I don't know which this one falls to, but like
Mhm.
a subtask generation, like let's say it generates
Ah,
a subtask based on, yeah, if there's a big task to do, like let's say plan a trip somewhere, it helps break it down for you, like actually book a find a ticket, reserve a hotel, something like
yeah,
that.
yes. So that would
yeah, it is.
definitely come in handy. For instance, when you're doing this, let's say number one, so you've just dictated submit this, like, or do leg workouts. So it could come up with a list of leg workouts for you automatically, whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Uh, Subtask generation. Okay. hmm Anything else? Anything else?
Mm, maybe you can add something
hmm
like a daily motivational thing, like when you just enter into your task app, it's there and it
Um,
says something like you got this today. You have,
nice.
something like a motivational a motivational thing maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just for the, yeah, maybe we
Quotes
can add that.
or boost. Is
yeah, and they
boost
can be
spelled
random.
that way?
So
Huh?
double OST. Yeah, double
Yeah.
OST.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So it could be like a quote or a boost to,
Or a message
Yeah.
or something.
yeah, or a
Mm,
message. Eh.
Yeah,
To keep working. Well, okay. I haven't slept, by the way.
yeah,
Uh, on your
mm,
tasks. Yeah, but it's okay. I had a very late. My day started really late, so it's all good. So, that's
uh,
that's a really good one. And yeah, that's a really really good one. Yeah, and it could be
yeah,
kind of like from, if it's like you're starting your week, it could be like, by the
uh,
way, you did 50 tasks last week. You
last
are
week,
a
yeah.
star,
yeah,
blah blah blah. Or even yesterday,
Mm,
you've done so well.
uh,
mm,
It's the middle of the week. I know it's starting to get tired, but just keep pushing. Today you have 5 main tasks. These are the top priority. Let's do this. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's a
yeah.
really good one. Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think I have any other
Okay.
at the
Then
moment.
we can keep this ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's um let's divide the work. Okay, we'll come back to this. we'll come back to this
Yeah.
as next steps, and then we'll divide the work, and then we will do research so that next Saturday
Yeah.
you can come and defend why we need to implement your feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can only do
Okay.
2 of them.
Mm.
Yeah, in as much as we might
Okay.
want to do more, I think 2 is enough for a start.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yes, so what we'll need next week is are we doing user flows next week? Sorry. Nope, we're not. Don't need this. Okay. So we need the presentation. Okay. And then we will we will see how we can put that on Figma. And then we also kind of need to prepare ourselves for the Figma redesign. So like getting do you guys remember where our Figma was? Our Figma document, our Figma
Yeah.
document. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so we'll kind of so what we'll need to do is in our SRS, which let me actually take you guys through it. So this is the SRS. Just need if you had a group name, if we were so many divided into groups and stuff, we would put our group name there. Otherwise, it could just be a name of someone who did the document or something. And then this is just the table of contents. We have the revision um, table, history table, and then this is it. So the purpose of the document. So it's for Ongea Task.
Could you zoom in?
Oh,
Could you
it's
zoom in a bit?
okay.
Uh,
Let me see. Let me see.
I think you can zoom in on the document.
You can just the document.
Yeah, that's the 100% on the.
Ah, okay. Let me
No,
do that. Let me do that. Let's see. Yes, you were right. Okay. So
yeah,
I hope this is better now.
that's the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the purpose of the document. Um, the conventions, like how are we going to define our requirements. So we have the that requirement and then the number. And then if it's the first requirement, it's going to be 1.1. And you'll see it. So for instance, uh, yeah, functional requirement for it's under tasks. So requirement 1.1, requirement 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, all the way down. And then the next one is, sorry for scrolling up and down, but this one, priorities. I don't know if you saw after the requirement, there was like an M and then in brackets. So if it's an M, it's like it's a must, it has to be there. If it's an S, it's a should,
Mm.
it should be there. It's like a nice to have. No, no, it 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 needs to be there, but it's not a must, but it needs to be there. And then a C is a could be there. Like it's a nice to have. Like it's not necessary, but if you have enough time, you can always
Mm.
implement it. Yeah. So you'll see
Gotcha.
this and then the priority level. And then for us, the task is the top level, and then subtask it's the child, and then trash is soft deleted state. So
Mm.
these are the intended audience are the developers and the maintainers and testers. And the different sections just indicate which ones are the sections that they might be mostly focused on. But I always recommend just reading the whole document. So project scope just talks about what exactly the like we've done or we're going to do for the project. So this is what it
Mm.
is. When we include the AI features, we will add the scope to include those two features. References, this is our GitHub repository. So I will add the URL here. Uh, hosting, it's on Render. I'll also add like a link to the Render URL. Railway, link to Railway. This one isn't necessary, but what we can do is we can add a link to the README. I think our README file has the steps to run Docker, the MySQL Docker, or we can just add a link to that YAML file here. Um, what else? We can add links to SQL Alchemy documentation, Flask documentation, all that. Whatever it is we want, we can add it there. And also Docker, we can add a link to the official Docker, So this is, I didn't have enough time to put everything into to be perfect, but this is like the draft, the initial draft. So we still have a lot to add and change. Okay, so the overall description is this. We already talked about this, the features. I didn't do this yet. I'll work on it. But these are basically the classes the user classes that we have and the characteristics. I believe this is more like a user class would be the different type of people, I believe, that will be using
Mm.
it. And anyway, I will think of this. It's a bit, it needs a bit more, but I'll work on this. I'll add this myself. Um, the operating system or operating not system operating environment. Like, what do you need to run this or to duplicate this? Like, what environment is it supposed to be on? So this is it. I'll add the specific Flask version. And I think we can get this from our requirements.txt files. Then constraints. Um, this is what we have so far. I think I'll let you guys read through this in detail. I don't think I can read
Mm.
everything. Is the documentation
Yeah.
that we have. It's this one, mostly the README. We have some assumptions that we made. And then system features. So this is now where the main thing is this part, the functional requirements. So the functional requirements for tasks are this: create task with title, description, So we can actually even go deeper into details, if we want to. But this is a general functional requirement, and it's a must. So the list tasks showing title, status label, and categories, and then update all editable fields, all those things. And then subtasks, the same thing. Um, and then a breakdown of the functional requirements. Categories, same thing, functional requirements. This one is we should have. I think we already can edit and delete categories right now. And then priority levels. So I'll let you guys go through this because it's a long
Okay.
document. Yeah, but it'll help us put everything in one place. And then the non-functional requirement now is this, like performance. It should load within this whatever. It should be able to create up to 200 tasks. So like our automated test will create 201 tasks just to see
Mm.
if it does that
Uh,
in less than
mm,
2 seconds, something like that. Yeah. So um soft deleting, yeah, see, that's why, anyway. So these are just the things that are necessary but are not functional, but they are requirements.
mm.
So uh, please read through this. If you find an error, just make a change to it. If you need to clarify, just clarify in the chat and then make changes. And then the glossary just defines a few things. And then the models, we will put the models here, like when we create the class diagrams and all that. If we decide to have here, although I don't think we need an entity relationship diagram, but whatever it is, the models that you might come up with, we'll just put them under here. And then if we have any issues, we'll add them here. That's it
Mm.
for the SRS. And when we put the user stories, we'll put them somewhere, I think after the non-functional requirements. Yeah, we'll find a place for the user stories. When we get the tests, we will also find a place to put them here. So everything is just going to be here.
Oh.
So do you guys have any questions? Okay,
No questions.
that's good.
Mm.
So I also wanted to tell you guys before we break down the work and then we call it a day,
Mm.
I wanted to let you
Mm.
know that I've made some changes on the on how we will be doing some things with when coding. So first, I have created a rule for merging to main. So we will not be, no one will be able to merge to main until I know I haven't merged all your I haven't merged all your
What?
work. Yeah. What will happen is we will need, like I've put it in place so that it needs one review at least, and that's me. Like I need to at least review, and then you can pick any other if you want. And then
Mm.
it needs to have a verified signature. So it will show you
Verified.
so a verified signature. Let me try and remember
Uh,
how this is done, but we can find the steps to do that. Basically, like you need to
mm.
verify that this is your work in one way, something like that.
uh,
So that we just verify
mm.
that this is you, and then I will
mm,
need to review, and then yeah, and then it can be merged.
mm.
So another thing I created was a PR template, pull request template. So let me show you guys how that will look like. So this is how it's going to look like. So when you create a pull request in future, you'll be told to fill these parts. So you put a title. I think like how big this is. Okay, I'll make the changes later. But you'll be told to put a title, a description. If they are related issues, you can attach them here, and then you pick if it's a bug, a feature, is it
Or,
something to do with the
mm,
database, is it a test, something like that. And then if you have tested it. So this should also be like a checkbox. I will try and add checkboxes like this one. And then
mm,
um, you will confirm that these things are, like it follows the rules that we have in place. And if you have screenshots, let's say you are doing something specific like what validating that subtasks are like you have the strike through when you complete a task or a subtask. You can even take a screenshot
yeah.
and add it there. So
Oh,
the reason for this
oh, yeah.
is it makes reviewing the work so much easier because I
Oh,
already
yeah.
know I
And see.
already know exactly. I already know what I'm looking for.
Mm,
So I won't take so much time to figure out what exactly you're trying to do. And I'm saying this because I have so much work to
mm.
do, to be honest. But it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
good
Mm,
practice because in future you might be working with a really, really huge code base, and you might find that senior
mm,
engineers are the ones who are maybe even reviewing your work before they are merged. It's merged to me, and they don't have a lot of time. So this just
mm,
helps. Yeah. So once you get used to this, it'll make your work look very clean, even you yourself when you're reviewing other people's. Because I'm not the only one who's supposed to review, by the way. You should also review amongst each
mm,
other. Yeah, you should
mm,
review each other's code. It makes it so much easier. So that's the change that
mm.
I've added this time, just to make things a bit more cleaner, more organized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any questions so far? Excuse me.
So
Mhm.
those checkboxes will be visible after creating the PR or when you are in the process of creating a PR.
So it'll look like this actually. Let me make this change. So so it'll look like this, and then you'll come and you'll remove this, and then you'll put the title, put the description here, and then when you want to to mark this one, let's say it was a bug fix, you can just put an X.
Mm.
If you do that,
Okay.
you see
Mm.
it'll show that it's checked.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll see it in this way, in like sort of like a markdown kind of way. But yeah. If you just put an X on it, in it inside it, it will come out that way. So let me also add
Okay.
this for fits manual testing. And so the reason for just this testing is, sometimes um, people might create PRs and they haven't even validated or verified that that feature of thing is actually working. So this is just to confirm that everything is working as it should be, so that by the time the final reviewer or maybe like a senior reviewer is seeing it, they don't take a lot of time to review.
Um,
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Any other question?
Another question.
Okay. Let me divide this work really quickly. So let me know if you're interested in a specific um, idea. Could be the one that you suggested, just to make it more, make sure
Yeah.
you're sort of invested. But yeah, tell me which ones you guys want to do.
For me, the one I suggested, the smart task suggestion, and
This one,
the natural language tasking.
this one. Oops, this the first one,
Yeah.
because they're kind of um they're kind of attached, like they're kind of related.
Though they're the same difference because the first one is inputting like well, not
Yeah,
typing.
yeah,
This is a suggestion.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. I guess the only relation is like they're tasks. I
Okay.
yeah. So, anyone else?
I would also do the one I suggested, the daily motivational quotes
Uh-huh.
and and weekly digest.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Abby?
I can do the subtask generation, um, and then also smart reminders.
So, wait, this one.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I will do this one and
This one.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what exactly do we need? Let me just. So, research requirements. So, you can do write up um, on including a description of
Mhm.
what what your feature is, um, tools that will be needed for implementation.
Ease of implementation.
Sorry.
The ease of implementation.
Yes, ease of implementation, like sources, time. What else? You know, you can actually even do a demo, like a prototype.
Mm. Mm.
Um, have you guys heard of N8N?
No.
It's a
No.
really it's an AI workflow tool that helps you integrate with other things. So like you can integrate your WhatsApp with your Gmail, and then like you can text your Gmail or receive a WhatsApp text saying you've gotten an email from someone and respond to it from there. Anyway, it just helps kind of automate things with AI. You can look at it. But I think when you're looking at when you're researching and finding tools that will can implement it, most likely you get it as a suggestion, so it's okay. Yeah, so we need that write up, and then just simple presentation. Yeah. So this will be a doc file, and then this one will be slides. So very, very simple, nothing complicated. Just try and convince us that this can be done and how it will be done. So can it be done? Oh, that's it. I think that's it. So I'll have this as an assignment. Okay, I think we're good. So you should get an email, and then if you are stuck in any way, just let me know and then I'll see what I can do.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay.
So you guys have a good week. I know this is going to be an interesting assignment considering it's to do with AI, and it is open for your
Mm.
own, like you're free to do as much research as you can on the topic. And the good thing is you
Mm.
picked the topic yourself, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I think
Okay.
that's it then. We can